But Carol, who's just the first one of these you've been to? Shirley, you've been to a roundtable before, right? Or is this your first roundtable too?
First.
I know Carol's it's your first. Shona, is this your? I know I've got a mid-drink. Or have you been to one of these before? Yes, you have been, or yes, you have been to one, or yes, is this your first?
Oh, no, I've been to one before.
Okay, cool. So, like, for Carol's sake, the aim of this today is just to kind of use this as a chance to sort of see where you're at with your client base, see how many people are on track, off track, and set goals for those people moving forward. It's that place to just have a revamp of your current roster in your business. So, could people put in the chat how many clients they've currently got they're working with? If you've got online and in person, feel free to split it, but just let me know how many people you currently got in the business.
Hard to say because I haven't got my computer with me, but I think it's gonna be around that.
Yeah, rough numbers is fine. So we got 20 from Carol, 28 from Shona. Right, so key thing here, how many of those people, one, have a clear goal? So let's do that one first. How many people have a clear goal? That's just online. Okay, cool. So how many people you know what they're going to need to achieve this week? Whether it's a strength target, a range of motion target. How many have a quantifiable goal?
Should you just put that in the chat?
Yes.
Hmm.
And no worries if it's not many, because that's what this is here for, right?
Yeah. See,
So we've got about half of Shona's on the online basis anyway.
Yeah, I would say the same. Like I was waiting for a call because we've got the kickstart call today. So I was thinking about all of the changes that I'll be making. So I would say roughly like that as well.
Okay, cool. So out of that 14 and out of that 10, how many would you say, and put this in the chat too, were on target to achieving that this week?
Maybe 4.
4. Okay. So what we're looking for here, so if we've got this, and this is the aim of what we're looking at. I think everyone should have, for every client that comes from the business, you should have a 1 in 4 success ratio. So for every 4 people you get, you should have 1 incredible social media worthy result. Now that doesn't mean that like that's not your only people that are getting results. It could be 1 social media worthy result, 1 or 2 people that are, just they're doing good. And then 1 or 2 people that are just there to have a paycheck and like to chat to you, right? So if we can see that, we've got the reason why 1 in 4, and again, I'll always say this, 1 in 4, so that you can give yourself a break if you think everyone on social media you're comparing yourself to has got a 100% hit rate. They don't. But if it's less than 1 in 4, that's something, okay, that's maybe a sign when we need to either get clearer or need work. So we've got here 4 in 20, right? So 4, 8, 12, 16, maybe a little bit less than that. Now, it doesn't mean that you're under 1 in 4. It could mean that you just haven't got clear goals for people, right? So when we get clear goals, you might find a few people that you thought you weren't even thinking about are doing really, really well. So, and then we've got, for Shona, we've got 10 in 28. Okay, cool. So that is just, I want you to take stock from this. Look at that number after this, and then look at those people in your roster. Who are the people doing really well that we can really just like make sure they're that 1? And how do we bring the rest of those people up, at least into the middle of the pack, right? And if you did this once every week, you're going to be in a much, much, much better position for making sure your clients are getting results, because the result comes on you. You know how your client gets complacent, but often the client will get complacent, the coach gets complacent. So if every week you're looking at your roster, let's say I have 20 clients and I have 15 of them that are on track and 5 of them that are off track, you do that every week, you're now going, right, what do I need to do with everybody? How do I make sure Steve does his job? How do I make sure Jenny doesn't blow it on Saturday? And then that's on to you, with how you communicate with people, the touch points you give people, the advice you give people, etc. So now we've got the stats out the way. We are open floor. So this is what these are. These are just this open chance, ask questions, whether it's goal setting, clients, training, nutrition, whatever. Show that. Anything in particular you want to go through today? Trying to find the mute button.
God, I couldn't find it. Sorry.
It's all right.
I have a question.
Go for it.
So I've got, well, it's now 10 weeks now until the photo shoot for my client.
How many weeks?
I probably 10 weeks.
10 weeks. Okay.
10 weeks. I probably should actually get a call booked in the future so you can have a look at their body compositions and stuff and see what you think. But I've got two in particular that are quite nervous about it because they don't think that they've dropped enough body fat. So I'd like them to feel a bit more comfortable if they're still dropping at a rate of about. Sorry,
yeah,
you lost me.
You see back. I got you.
Sorry.
So they're still dropping.
Yeah, they're dropping about a rate of just under 0.5 a week. Okay. They want to drop more than that. To make them happy, should I drop the calories further?
So, okay, so the first thing I'd say before we look into this, right? When anyone's nervous about a photo shoot, I always like to reassess with them what is the photo shoot for. Yeah. It's not necessarily for your Instagram. It's not necessarily for you to look like men's or women's health models. It's to showcase your hard work. It's so you look back on this process and go, my God, like mummy or daddy did something impressive, sort of.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, look, whether you look absolutely peeled, thick skin lean, or whether you just look 20 kilos leaner, that is an achievement. And it doesn't mean that if you this photo shoot you weren't entirely at the end goal, the next one could be. So I would do that first just to make sure they're not self-sabotaging, thinking that or giving up on the shoot because they're too nervous with it.
Yeah.
Excited because it's for them. If they're dropping at 0.5%, when you say 0.5, I mean 0.5% rather than 0.5 kilo.
Oh, well, I meant just under 0.5 kilos. I meant not percent.
Okay. And how heavy are these people?
One of them's around 68.5. The other one's just shy of that. She's about 67.
So they're both probably about what, 0.75% of their body weight, roughly. So they're on the high end of target, but then they're not over target. Okay. So the first thing you'd look at here is like, okay, if they are wanting to ramp it up, and I would communicate with them with this, if they're wanting to ramp it up, right? What first thing I look at, because you still got a while, right? And you can do a lot in 8 weeks.
10 weeks.
10 weeks. Well, exactly. You've got a buffer, right? Let's say 9 because the last week you're kind of getting ready for it. So in 9 weeks, right, you could do a lot there. So I would say, right, okay, if they want to step it up, I would start by asking, because it's a good chance for someone to admit something if they haven't been telling you. Is there anything in your life, training, nutrition, sleep, that you could dial in now that could get us a little bit closer to that 1% target? Start with there. Is there anything on your end? Because then they might tell you something, because now it's important. You can reason to tell you the things they're guilty about telling you about. Where are they both food-wise?
Well, that's the thing. They're on around 1,570 calories. Both of them, actually. They're office desk workers. Yeah.
So is it 1.5, and how are they? Caveat: how are they from? When I say how are they from an energy perspective, right? How are they from an energy perspective, inclusive of sleep? Like if they're not prioritizing their sleep, then if you hear healthy, you think horses, not zebras. It's not a thyroid issue that they're tired if they're getting 2 hours sleep a night.
Yeah. Do you know all their health markers are in the green? So it's kind of giving me a bit of a green light to just go, right, well, we'll just slash your calories.
Yeah. You can think about this. And you can always revert back, right? You can always revert back. So if we look at that, so you said they're both on averaging around about 65 kilos, right? Oh, we think we might have a link. There we go. We got the audio working, I think. 65 times 2.2 times 10. So 10 calories per pound is 1,400. So you could probably go, I reckon you could probably go at least to 8 calories per pound. So 65 times 2.2 times 8. you could probably, I reckon your lower limit is probably somewhere about there. And when I say lower limit, your lower limit safely without real issues, other than I'm going to be a bit hungry, right? I think, but you could, I'm not saying you can't go below that, but below that would be like a 2 weeks kitchen sink. Let's just do what we can, get everything off kind of thing.
Yeah.
But with 10 weeks to go, you've got anywhere between where you're at and there.
Okay.
I wouldn't go straight to there. You've got 10 weeks. But you've got probably about a 400 calorie window, basically, from 650, 600 to 1100. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I think then you've also got the activity thing you can play.
Well, yeah, if they've got time. It's just I get to their office, one of them's a traveller for work. So time is of the essence. But yeah, that's fine. Okay, I can do that then. I can drop the calories a little bit.
And the people who say he's traveling for work as well, it might always be good to have that extra lower calories than you think, because if they travel with work, then you're always going to have a guesstimate week here or there. So you might as well like make the most of the weeks where they're in control.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So answer your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
No problem. Carol, anything in particular you want to cover today?
I mean, I've got a few people, and we're gonna go through this anyway on our call because it's a lot of happening within my, and just about my setup structure and how strict I am with my clients. So I've got a few people struggling with consistency and stuff. I'm not doing any photo shoots and stuff. It's more like a lifestyle changes and shredding the fat of the busy parents. So I think my system's just lacking a little bit, and we're gonna probably go through that on our call today.
We absolutely will. I think when it comes to sort of like adherence issues, the things that I find that are the biggest things are rarely actually nutrition related things. So like, one, do they have a goal? So they'll tell you a goal, right? So on day one they'll go, I want to lose 10 kilos, right? And that's fine. That's target one. But then it's like, okay, but why? Why 10 kilos? What will that add to your life? And that's the kind of questions that are worth asking with people. It's like, anyone could, I'd like to lose 10 kilos. But right now, with things that are going on in my personal life, it is not the top priority in my life to lose 10 kilos. Right? So it's like, but if I was sitting in front of a coach and he asked questions, why would 10 kilos be important to you? And we started going into, I'll use me as an example, right? If we started going into me picking my life up after being separated, potentially like showing I'm looking after myself post-divorce, then all of a sudden we have a connection between being in shape and this, which could shift it up the priority list. So it's like, oh, so tell me why that 10 kilos is important to you. Could be a follow-up question. And then it'd be like, oh, because I think it would improve my confidence. Okay, cool. And is confidence something you've always struggled with? Oh yeah, ever since I was a kid. Okay, if you don't mind me asking, like, what happened when you were a kid? Oh, I was teased a lot at school for being the fat kid. Okay, and how did that make you feel? And blah 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 blah. And do you feel that translates into your life at the moment? Oh yeah, I don't show up to meetings and I don't speak my mind because I'm worried that people are going to judge my opinion. Okay, cool. And how does that impact your job? I just feel that I've been wanting a promotion for years and I've just not got it, and I'd love to make more money. And why is more money important to you? Oh, because if I can make more money, I can provide for my family. Okay, and what kind of father do you want to be? Oh, I want to be the person that provides for them. I want to be the person who can run around and run around with them, and when they're in their when they're 8, 9, 10, etc., etc. Okay, now we start to got some substance. And what would it mean to your life if we could change those things? If we can make you run around with your kids, if we can make you confident in your work, what impact would that have? Now we have something that makes that goal important to them. So I always call this the past, future, present model. The past is finding that why. So you're going to ask follow-up questions. Seriously, I swear that someone's about to attack Liam because the lights just went off and he went really dark. It was like, what's happening here? Is something coming? It's like someone coming in behind him with an axe.
I hope not.
I know, it's me too. So the past is that why. Why is it that goal is important to that client, right? Find that. Where's that bit where it's a little bit uncomfortable? Everyone would like to lose weight, but why is it important right now? I don't feel my partner finds me attractive, or I don't show up for work, or whatever. Then the future. Where's this end goal? And this end goal is really important. People don't dive into the end goal anywhere near enough. The past is where they're trying to move away from. This is why coaches are very good at helping their clients with the first 5 kilos, not the second 5. That first 5 to 10 kilos is I'm moving away from pain. And the clients are often very good at that themselves with a bit of accountability because they wake up every morning feeling their pain. I hate how I look. I hate how I've got back pain. I hate how low my energy is. They're reminded constantly. They have that accountability within themselves because they feel like shit to start doing stuff. But then there's going to come a point in the middle of this journey where they're like, I feel pretty good. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm all right. And that's where coaches will say, oh, my client just doesn't want to be lean. No, they've just gotten complacent. And you've not given them a reason to want to be lean. So future is like, if you could not fail, if it was impossible to fail, where would you want to be? How do you want to look? How do you want to feel? How do you want to behave? How do you want to perform? What habits do you want to have? Those things do a couple of things. One, if you say what habits you want to have, they go, I'd love to be that kind of person that gets up and goes for a run. Or I'd love to be that person that gets up at 5:30 in the morning, works with clients, and then sits there drinking the massive bottle of water on the treadmill like Shona, right? And so, but if they don't start doing that, they're waiting to be lean to start doing the habits. You can go, do you remember on day 1 when you said that? Right? You need to be that person now if you want to achieve that target. But what it also does is it paints the image of what that feels like. Not just how they want to look, because that could be something that seems unrealistic. I'm painting the image of they're envisioning a future version of themselves in that body, and it becomes real. And then from that, right, my next step is the present. Why don't they look like that already? And I will generally ask that question. So tell me why you don't look like that already. Which is a harsher question. Most people go, could you tell me the barriers you're facing? And you just get wishy-washy answers. Oh, I don't know about nutrition. Whereas if I go, tell me why you don't look like that already. It's a bit in your face. And enough that they go, well, I'm always eating too much on the weekends. And they'll tell you the real thing. And then you know if you solve those problems, there you go. Hey, presto. Right? Because that's the problems that haven't gotten there. You solve them. Easy peasy result. So once you've got that, right, you now have this why. So the first thing is people don't have a strong enough why to start acting. If they just want to lose 5 kilos and they don't know why, I'm not walking in the rain. I'm not turning down donuts at the office. The next thing is that most coaches don't create urgency. So how long is it going to take them to lose those 10 kilos? Right? What's the deadline? I think Shona in this next 10 weeks will have the best adherence that she has most of the year. Why? Because there's a very, very strict deadline. They're going to take their shirt off in front of a photographer. That's scary. So if we've got that clear deadline, every day now becomes valuable. They can't just go, I'll just get in shape a day later. And I'll just get in shape a day later. Because that will always. It's like fat loss results are like gas. They'll expand to the space you allow it. So give them a hard deadline. Now, that doesn't mean every client needs to do a photo shoot or book a holiday, but you need to, even if it's artificial, right? It's going to take 24 weeks to hit that target. You put 24 weeks in that timeline document, count it down, and in every check-in, they tell you how many weeks they've got left. How many weeks until this target? 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. And every week they count it down, making today a little bit valuable. It will not be as motivating as a photo shoot. But if you don't have a clear one, at least it creates some level of artificial deadline. And from that artificial deadline end, the key thing for you as a coach is, unless it's like someone that's nailing it and you just feel an extra week would make me look even better, be true to your word. So if they've half-assed it and you get to the end of their 24-week deadline, you give them like a week or a 2-week refeed, a diet break, and then you pick another goal and start again for the next stab at it. Because then they know in that second rotation, you will be good to your word. And this is a deadline, right? You can't just because if you start just pushing it back, they will start pushing it back. I have a client that schedules a date night with a partner every 3 months. And if she makes her target, her husband pays for the whole new outfit. I like that. Yeah, like how do you create urgency? Make a bet with your friend. Even paying you is a good start with that, right? But make a bet with themselves. Make a bet with somebody, right? And then when you've got that deadline, now how do we break it down to what they need to do this week? So in order for them to lose their weight, they need to lose in 24 weeks. They need to lose somewhere between 0.5% and 1% of their body weight per week, right? Now, obviously, if you go 0.5% or 1%, will determine how long it is and what the deadline is, but you would have set that beforehand. So when you set that goal, so if someone's 80 kilos, they're going to lose somewhere between 0.4 and 0.8. Someone's 100 kilos, they're going to lose 0.5 kilo to a kilo. Now, let's say you set the goal at 0.8. What do they need to do to hit that target? And then your job as the coach is to keep them accountable to do all the things that help them hit that target. You're never going to know for certain whether they're going to hit it. We have no control over our body weight. It's just the effect of gravity on us. But if I set that to give them a target to push hard, and then I go, right, to do that, we're going to do this with activity. We're going to make sure we send menus. And we're going to make sure we have no carbs at lunch, for example. Then you can check in with them multiple times so we can go, hey, how are we getting on with the no carbs at lunch? Oh, I really did it Monday, but I struggled on Wednesday. Okay, tell me what happened Wednesday. Oh, we were sent out for our business meeting and I didn't have as much choice of food. Okay, so what did you have? Oh, I had X, Y, and Z. Okay, cool. What was the menu? Oh, that might have been a better option. So what could you do next time other than have that option? Oh, I'm going to send you the menu beforehand. Fantastic. Let's try that. And then the next week comes along. You set the new goal. 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 And that's how we keep this ball rolling, right? The coaches that often get the best adherence are the ones that like find that line between being annoying and being distant, right? Coaches are just like, I'll do your check and I'll see you next week. And then the coaches that are pestering people every day and they get annoyed. It's like, where's that sweet spot between like, I should be speaking to my clients probably more than anyone that's not their partner sort of attitude. Like, make it, take your results personally. That's the big stuff. You get the goal in place, everything else comes secondary because we can change the nutrition, we can change the training, we can adjust that. But the goal means to take action, and then action gives you data. Data influences your decisions you make with training and nutrition. Does that sort of give you some things to think about, Cal?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. Liam, anything in particular from you today?
I've got one client. He's had gastric bypass surgery.
Okay.
So he's got a nutritionist. I've not got much control over that side of things.
Okay.
He's come to me with the sole intention of not having too much loose skin. So he wants to tone up. Yeah.
I've got an unfortunate tough love answer for you this.
Yeah. I've had the conversation with him. I said it's not.
Yeah, you can do. There are bits. You can bits.
Skin elasticity and stuff isn't exactly something we can fix, sort of thing. We can increase muscle mass and whatnot.
So yeah, so the things you've got at your disposal, you've obviously got muscle mass, which will obviously create a little bit more tightness to the skin. Might not around the gut though. You're not going to really build your ex abdominis enough to offset it. Second thing you might look at things is like collagen cream and collagen protein powder. It will help, but it'll be a 1-2% difference, and it probably you're probably going to have to do it daily for years to see the 1 to 2% difference. But if he's truly committed to it, then it might help. But again, you got to consider that's a conversation you might want to bring up with his nutritionist and see if they will influence that sort of thing. Skincare routines, moisturize, that sort of stuff will help. What to do, how to do it. Maybe we'll open the floor to Shona there. I probably don't have as much experience in the area. But other than that, the biggest way to not get loose, to avoid loose skin is not get fat enough to have skin that's loose. Everything else is just bonus. So I think try all those things. Understand it's a long game. And if you do take photos and stuff, you can always tuck loose skin in his waistband and stretch.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to add anything like Ed from there? Shona, any cool skincare tips for the lads?
I had a client who's in a similar position. She got that. What's it called when they actually cut away your stomach now? They don't actually put a thing around it. They actually cut away your stomach.
Yes.
Anyway, she got that done. But she has to get surgery now to remove all the excess skin because she dropped at such a rapid pace. And then obviously the stimulus. But I was quite blunt with her. I just said, this is the repercussions of you allowing yourself to get to the point of extreme obesity.
Mm.
Because it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's shit to hear it, but it's also like you did this to yourself as well. Like, I don't know, it's hard. It is hard.
Mm. Yeah, I think you want that, exactly that. I think it's the element of tough love. You're not going to avoid it, because if he judges the success of your service based on the amount of loose skin he's got, that's not fair. So you need to have that tough love approach, as Shona says. But look, it's like, look, I can't promise anything, but these things might help. Smidge, we'll try them, but don't get your hopes up that this is going to transform you into tight as hell men's health cover model. But at the end of the day, it's not if you can tuck it into waistbands, it's not going to be that noticeable. You're most of the time going to be wearing clothes. This is I'm sure you'd agree, this is infinitely better than where you were at.
Yeah, it's tough love, isn't it? Like, can't fix it without drastic surgery and stuff, which I'm sure he doesn't want to go through.
Yeah.
No, well, go on, sure.
I made a point of just highlighting all the health benefits that were not superficial and visual.
Yeah,
like the physiological benefits that he got from being fitter, so that he could kind of move away from the look. But
yeah,
yeah,
I agree with that. And again, he later down the line, you know, he once you try some of these things for a while, he might be up for the surgery, because he's obviously already gotten surgery.
Yeah,
like it's not that that plaster's already been pulled off his arm, you know. But again, we'll see. Like, he does, that's up to him to see if he wants to do through. But just try what you can. But it's a small difference. Sweet guys. Anyone else have any key questions? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be client stuff. It could be training, nutrition, whatever. But you have me for the next 30 minutes if you want, if you need it.
can I ask just quickly about one of the styles of periodization?
Of course.
There's the daily periodization. The one that's like for someone who's traveling, for example. Yeah. How does that split work? I'm confused with that one.
Okay, so if we take an example of a 3-day full body program, right? If we were going to do a 3-day full body program, we're going to do a linear periodization. So I'd love to be able to write this. Maybe I still can. I've got the whiteboard on Zoom. Let me know. Can you see a whiteboard?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to try and see if this works. Apologies if it doesn't work very well, because I'm not used to using this. I'm normally used to using my own whiteboard where you can just watch my handwriting. So let's say strength endurance. And let's go. Come on, hypertrophy. It says hit, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell's this? This is weird. What is this sort of yellow thing? Don't have yellow thing. I want this thing. Functional hypertrophy. Functional hype, and then strength.
Yeah.
So if we've got I'll move these in a second, but so we've got these sort of 4 stimuluses that we're sort of working towards, right? So strength is probably anything under 5. And then we've got sort of like somewhere between probably about 6 to 8 is probably functional hypertrophy, halfway house between strength. We've got hypertrophy. That's actually annoying me. Then we've sort of got our 9 and 12 sort of range with our traditional hypertrophy, and then we've got our strength endurance stuff, right? This is more of our nervous system stimulus, a little bit less direct hypertrophy, but you still will grow muscle if you train close to failure. This is more getting blood and nutrients to the tissues, and what Cassim would call metabolic. It's not because it burns more calories, just because it drives more nutrition and maybe creates more ATP and things like this. And then we've got the hypertrophy, which is going to be here, right? So if we did a linear model, you'd have phase 1 here, you'd have phase 2 here, and I'm going to come on to yours. I know a few of the guys probably haven't got to this bit yet. Phase 3 here, and then phase 4 here.
Yeah.
Right? So the benefits of this for a beginner is that this works really well for beginners because we can kind of go, right, as I can see Liam bobbling around the screen. I saw your arrow on the whiteboard. It started moving around. There he is. So as you're a beginner, you can have low load. You can get a lot of practice because the reps are higher. And as you get better at training, you just slowly increase the intensity from phase to phase, right? The disadvantage of a linear periodization model is that by the time you get to here, you spent so long away from the strength endurance bit that you may have detrained in these areas, which probably isn't much of a concern for a beginner, but someone that's maybe a little bit more advanced, you might not want that. The other disadvantage of this is that if you're here and your client's showing signs of a nervous system fatigue, right, we're going to move into a phase that's more nervous system demanding, right? So we might just be kind of like making the problem worse, or we need to cut this block here and then move back up. So then for what you do for the more advanced people, you could do an undulating model. So if we had phase 1 here, and we still have phase 4 here, that's still the peak, right? We just swap these two around. So now from what we call a accumulation 1, high volume, and our next phase is now goes from volume to high intensity. And then while phase 3, we increase the volume, go accumulation 2, and do more volume, but it's a progression from the first time we did it. And then we peak on intensification 2 with some strength targets. So those are our two primary periodization methods. And like this one's really, really good because it works for a number of reasons. One, you can run each of these phases long enough to see the downside of that phase. So if I'm working in one of these 2 phases and I'm starting to see nervous system fatigue, like increased anxiety, disturbed sleep, general lethargy, that's our sign to go, right, now's the time to move into these higher volume phases, right? Because now we can let the nervous system calm down. If I'm spending time here and I'm seeing like tendinitis issues, DOMs that don't go away, that sort of stuff, that could be my sign to move into the more heavy phases. For a client, it's great because one phase they focus on the pump and the next phase they focus on lifting low weight on the bar. So they get a mental shift each time. So if people like variety without too much, this works really well. And then from there, these are phases. So this, let's say this could be a 4 to 8 week phase, 4 to 8 week phase, 4 to 8 week phase, 4 to 8 week phase. So then we move into our 2 sort of jack of all trades models, which are conjugate and daily undulating periodization. So with these, instead of doing a different stimulus per phase, we do a different stimulus either per workout or per day. So I'm going to finish on the one that Shona is talking about. But we could do here A series strength. So let's say that's 5 by 5. And then we've got B series 3 by 8, C series 2 by 15. So that'd be a conjugate program. So we do strength in the first lot of exercises, hypertrophy in the second lot of exercises, volume in the third lot. This is what a lot of bodybuilding coaches do with really advanced people because certain lifts lend themselves to higher reps and certain lifts lend themselves to strength. If you ever hear of a power building program, this is probably what you're going to be looking at. You're going to be looking at a conjugate. The advantage of that actually creates a lot of variety. You can match the volume to the muscle group. You can match the volume of the exercise to the exercise, like leg extensions and lateral raises. It's harder to program because now the whole point, I think, from a coach's perspective of periodizing in blocks is not only does it give the clients a long-term vision, but it also gives you as the coach less things to think about. If I'm doing strength endurance phase, I know my rest periods are going to be short. My sets are going to be lower. Why? Because it would take 4 years to do 5 sets of 25 with 5 minutes rest in between, right? I know my tempos are going to be controlled with that crazy eccentrics. Otherwise, a set would take an hour and a half, right? I know I'm probably not going to do 5 sets of 20 or 3 sets of 20 deadlifts, but I might do leg extensions. So my exercise selection pools come down. Here, our exercise selection pool now is open. So it makes it a bit harder to program, right? Also, it's a bit of a jack of all trades. If I start to overtrain in one of these stimuluses, where do I go when I'm doing them all at the same time? Right? Which is similar then to our daily undulating periodization. So let's say someone is training Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So let's say Monday we do strength. Well, I'll do the same thing. Let's say we'll do a different one. Let's say we'll do 6x4. Wednesday we'll do 3 times 4 times 8. And then Friday we'll do in our A series 3 times 12. So that's sort of our daily undulate. So let's say Monday we've got a strength workout, Wednesday we've got a hypertrophy workout, and Friday we've got a strength endurance workout. This works really well for somebody who maybe is an athlete. So athlete, we're going to probably need to develop some skills of power and strength and speed and this sort of stuff, right? But we probably wouldn't want to do loads of volume and get loads of DOMs and fatigue and muscle that we're going to train. I wouldn't want to do loads of volume on hamstrings the day before going onto a football field because the chance of me pulling a hammy are going to be greater. So maybe I'll put this volume workout on Monday when after the game, my nervous system's going to be a little bit fried. So I start with 3 times 12, let the nervous system calm down, right? After a game, I have a light day. And then just before the game, I'll have a strength day, which is less volume, but fires me up nervous system wise to play and perform on Saturday. Does that make sense? Now, if we're looking at that from other people it works well with, I think, is people that travel a lot. So if people are doing a lot of business travel and are flying here, there, and everywhere, we've got a couple of things to think about here. One, it's just going to be a pain in the backside to try and do a traditional block because it's just going to be interrupted every time they go away. So also, you got to think that people are going to have flights, they're going to have despair, going to have broken sleep. So they might come in on certain days and feel that their nervous system is just fried. So let's say we plan it and we write it that Monday is this strength workout, Wednesday is hypertrophy, Friday is volume. And let's say they go away Thursday to Sunday and they're on a long haul flight, which would be a very short trip. But let's say they come back on the Sunday. They come in on the Monday having 2 hours of sleep and a massive amount of jet lag. Maybe their nervous system isn't ready for this workout, so you just switch them. So it allows you flexibility with this. The downside of daily undulating periodization is that it's a jack of all trades, master of none, right? So if someone's generally overtrained, it's very difficult to know where to go because you're doing everything. But if someone's nervous system is fried, not because you've pushed them too far, but their nervous system is fried just because they've had a long haul flight or they've slept really badly or whatever, you're not saying, well, sorry, it's the strength phase, so suck it up, buttercup. You kind of go, okay, let's not do the strength workout today. Let's just do Friday's workout today, and we'll do strength on Friday when you've recovered and had a few nights of sleep. Does that answer your question, Shannon?
Yeah, I think that's perfect for my client who's traveling. Is he still going to get the muscular development that he would have in his previous job doing the linear programming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's okay. That's fine. I'm just like, oh gosh.
You're saying, would he have the same amount of muscular development?
Yeah, is he able to get a good muscular development on the undulating one?
Yeah, this all depends, right? So when we look at this, because periodization isn't going to be this big game-changing thing that transforms you. It will, but the thing that transforms your results in periodization isn't that these stimuluses are magic. It's the fact that you're planning long-term and you're thinking bigger picture, which means that you can kind of then look at your exercise selection and go, okay, I'll push this back a month and I'll progress this here. And you like, if you look at someone's diet, you look at where the diet wants to be at the end and you work back and you kind of go, let's meet them where they're at to get just the first 1% off. Actually allow you to get a better result. But it's not because it's not the fact that you've got this perfect periodized nutrition structure that's made them shredded. It's the fact that because you're thinking of it. Hey, here he is.
I'm so sorry. I put a line on your page.
That's all right. You can put a line on the page. It's all right.
I don't mean to hijack the call. Sorry, guys. Carry on.
You can hijack whatever you want, Umar. You're paying for this too. So yeah, so like it's the fact that you're thinking of it long term and that you're actually more on top of them that's making the adjustments. So yeah, if you think about what's actually making someone more muscular, right? creating mechanical tension.
Yep.
So how do we create mechanical tension? Being able to control it from the muscles we're looking for. So we create an acute overload. Acute overload is mastering the individual rep, right? And the individual set and the individual workout. And is that then progressive? So are we taking the sets close to failure? And are we using more load, time at attention? Are we increasing moment arms? Whatever the version of progression is, right? So progression doesn't have to just be weight. I could increase the lever length. I could be doing a cuff lateral at the elbow and I move it to the hand. That is now heavier because of increasing moment arm. But whatever we're doing from a progression standpoint, that's what's going to make him more muscular. So,
Yeah.
so say, would this give him as much muscularity as a pure hypertrophy block? The answer could be, well, is he advanced enough to do a strength? Obviously, it doesn't have to be 6x4, but is he advanced enough to do a strength phase and create enough tension and train hard enough and not hurt himself? Right. And if the answer is no to that, then it's probably safer just to stay somewhere in the middle. Now, with a traditional hypertrophy block, the great thing about that is it's not at the extremes of either end. So if I did let's say I did eight sets of 2, right, at like 90% of 1 rep max, I probably couldn't run that phase very long before I start to see my nervous system react negatively to this, right? Because I'm really hammering it, right? It's like if I gave you no sleep and continued scaring you all day, eventually you would just feel exhausted, right? Where if you did a strength endurance phase, if you did tons of volume, everything's going to feel sore very, very quickly because you're really hammering the volume. Hypertrophy sits in the middle. So you could probably run hypertrophy phases. This is why bodybuilders run hypertrophy phases for years. This is why most bodybuilders that come on this program have probably run the same sort of rep range for the last 10 years. Because it doesn't really hammer this and it doesn't really hammer this. But you also don't get the benefits of this and the benefits of this because you always are here. So if you don't feel you can handle the heavy stuff, probably just keep him in this sort of rep range. He's probably going to be good. Maybe just adjust the exercises for days. So maybe rather than daily undulating, you keep everything in a hypertrophy rep range, but you do more shortened range stuff on one day and the other 2 days do lengthened to mid-range stuff. So then if he comes in fried from a nervous system perspective, you do the shorter range workout then. Because shorter range stuff is easy to recover from. So you get the same benefit of daily undulating periodization, but not by doing it. That's another option.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions on this, guys? Before I close the whiteboard, does anyone want to talk periodization whilst I've got this up? Liam, Carol, anything you want to cover on that? Or any questions in general? We've still got a little time.
Periodization, all good.
Okay. What other questions do we have, guys? I'll stop presenting this. How do I stop that? Close whiteboard. There we go. We're back to me. Any other questions you got, Cal?
Let me think. Give me just a second.
Or Liam, for that matter?
Not off the top of my head.
Cool. Shona, any others?
No, that's been really useful. Thank you so much
Guys,
for that.
no problem. Well, if there's nothing else in particular, obviously, Carol, I'll see you in a few hours.
Yeah.
If you need anything in the meantime, guys, drop me a message. And go. You're cool today. Enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
No
Perfect.
problem. Have a good morning.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Yeah.